So what happens when hundreds of people, we're talking students, teachers, regular folks, all see the exact same, completely unexplainable thing in the sky, and then they're all told to just forget about it? Well, that's exactly what happened in a quiet suburb of Melbourne, Australia, and it kicked off a mystery that, honestly, is still baffling people decades later.
And that right there, that one sentence really captures the absolute conviction of the people at the heart of this story. For nearly 60 years, through all the ridicule and the official stonewalling, the witnesses of the Westall incident have not backed down, not one bit. I mean, this is the real question, isn't it? We're not talking about some fuzzy light in the middle of the night. This was a mass sighting in the middle of the day that even left physical traces behind. So, what on earth actually happened on that absolutely chaotic morning? All right, let's start with the event itself. Let's just push all the theories aside for a second and just look at what hundreds of people say they saw right over their school. The scene could not be more normal, just a suburban schoolyard on a Wednesday morning. And it's that complete, boring normalcy that makes what happened next so incredibly strange. What's just amazing here is the consistency. You have people all over the school, all with different viewpoints, but the descriptions all line up. A metallic saucer, totally silent, pulling off moves that are just impossible. And apparently, it was being chased by actual planes that had no chance of keeping up. And the school just erupted. As this thing dropped down towards a nearby field, the bell rang and kids just poured out of their classrooms, sprinting towards the fence to see what was going on. Teachers couldn't stop them. By every single account, it was absolute pandemonium. Okay, so with hundreds of witnesses, the authorities had to say something, right? The trouble was, the explanations they came up with they created way more questions than answers. And this is really where the two stories just crash into each other. The official lines just don't fit the facts. A weather balloon doesn't intelligently dodge airplanes. A target drogue doesn't hover silently over a field and then just vanish at an impossible speed. None of it adds up. Right, and here's where the whole weather balloon story just completely falls apart, because some of these students didn't just see the object from a distance. They got up close and personal with it after it landed. Look, these are not vague descriptions. We're talking about feeling heat coming off of it, specific details like no seams or rivets, and actual physical evidence on the ground. You have to ask yourself, how does any kind of balloon account for any of this? And this is where the story gets a little darker, because the official response wasn't to figure out what happened. It was to make sure no one ever talked about it again. The very first order to shut up came straight from the top, from the school's headmaster. He called a special assembly, not to calm the kids down, but to basically tell them they were crazy and to stop talking about it, period. Just think about that sequence of events. An immediate gag order, the only known photos are confiscated, and the professional news footage shot on the scene, it just disappears. This doesn't look like people ignoring something. This looks like an active, coordinated effort to make it go away. And they didn't just stop with the kids. Threatening a science teacher, a credible adult witness with the Official Secrets Act, that is a huge escalation. What kind of secret could a weather balloon possibly have that would justify threatening someone with prison time? So this student gets pulled into the headmaster's office to be questioned by two men in suits. And she said they didn't even ask her what she saw. They just ridiculed her, asking her about little green men, trying to intimidate her. She was certain their only goal was to squash the story. The whole campaign wasn't just about shutting people up either. It was about wiping the slate clean, getting rid of any physical evidence, any official trace that anything weird had ever happened at Westall. You really have to pay attention to the speed here. Witnesses who lived next to the field said military-style vehicles showed up just 20 minutes after the object left. 20 minutes. That is an impossibly fast response time for a random event. It almost suggests they were already tracking it. And get this. For what is arguably one of the biggest and most witnessed mass UFO sightings in Australian history, there is not a single piece of official paperwork. No Air Force report, no intelligence file, zero. It's like, officially, it never happened. But here's the thing.
Despite all of the years of denial and the missing files, the story of Westall is actually more alive today than it's ever been. And it's been kept alive by the very people who were told to forget it.
And this really shows you the power of a shared, undeniable experience. The community just refused to be quiet. They hold reunions. They've told their stories in documentaries. The town even put up a UFO-themed playground right at the site. The memory is literally built into the ground there. So in the end, that's the real question that just hangs over all of this. The official story doesn't fit. And the intense, coordinated effort to suppress the story feels so much bigger than the event they claimed it was. If it was really just a balloon, why the threats? Why the intimidation? Why erase it from the history books? What was so important to hide?